Well, ladies and gentlemen, on this show, I have Jason Cameron, who is a mindset coach and hypnotherapist. He's worked with different athletes and members of the public, and we met there not so long ago, where he and wanted me to do compare at the Wild Atlantic Way Fitness Expo. So that was down the Clanree there last weekend, and um, I really wanted to get chatting to Jason because of his background, and I'm very much into mindset and self awareness and motivation and stuff. So I wanted to hear his story and obviously get a few tips and things from him, so I could obviously give it to you listeners here. So, Jason, if you can, um, if you just give us a wee introduction and let us know where you got started and what did you did do in the past, but even before you went into mindset and hypnotherapy and so on, please.
Hi, Seamus. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so a little bit about me and my past was I'm actually coming from a construction background as a bricklayer, block layer. So I've been doing that pretty much most of my life anyhow. So, but I'd always kind of been into like holistics and kind of helping people. And always kind of knew I had to help some people in some kind of way, but never really knew or understood which direction that I should go.
Yeah.
So in 2011, I moved to Canada. I took my wife and kids over there. Then in 2012, spent a couple of years over there. Just had some issues getting our visas sorted out, so it was quite stressful at the time. So I decided maybe I'll just go for a hypnotherapy session over there and see if that would help me. And after the session, then I was like, right, this is what I need to do. This is like my calling. This is what I need to help people doing this. So in 2016, then we moved back home and back into the block lane again then as well. And I'd actually started, as I got back into the block lane again, then I kind of was suffering like massive anxiety attacks. You know, I'd be standing down the bottom of the road waiting for my lift in the morning, and just this wave of emotion would flood over me, and I'd be standing there crying, thinking to myself, what the heck is this about, like? So then I kept thinking about the hypnotherapy more and more, and then I says to Cara, I says, I can't stop thinking about just hypnotherapy. And she says, well, why don't you go and do it? And I was like, well, where am I going to do it around here? Like, so due to the powers of Facebook, up popped an introductory weekend down in Dublin. So I said I'd go along and see what the crack is. And so we headed down there then, anyhow, for the weekend. It was a 2-day introductory weekend course and ended up signing up then for it. So I signed up for that then. I think it was at the end of 2016, early 2017. It was a 6-month course. We're down every weekend or every couple of weekends, and we were learning stuff through the clinical side. So we were looking at fears, phobias, panic attacks, weight loss, smoking, and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of how I fell into it then. So it was, and I definitely found that it helped me. So by learning the process of it and actually doing the practical every weekend on ourselves and other participants down there, it helped me release my anxieties, any anger that I had lying built in inside me. I guess we kind of hold on to all these emotions without realizing it. So I would have kind of had a lot of anger towards certain individuals over in Canada. Like maybe I thought kind of stopped me progressing there, and maybe putting a certain blame on that individual as to why I'd come back again.
Right.
I'm not even consciously realizing that I was holding on to that anger. So by doing the practical every weekend down there, that helped me release mine. So it gave me more of a push to get out there and help people too as well, not just using simple techniques as well. So that's kind of how I fell into this as well. So was
Very good. Even so, how did you find dealing with the anger of this individual? Like for me, if I had to deal with certain things, like you'd have maybe that bit of a rage, and how do you not do it? How do you do it in such a way that you're not punching walls or You know, maybe that might
Yeah.
be a wee bit over the top, but I mean, for some individuals, that may be the case that they don't know how to maybe deal with that. So, how did you end up being aware and dealing with that and getting over it?
So I guess consciously I wasn't aware of it, but kind of like subconsciously, it had obviously annoyed me to a certain stage where I was taking that anger or that emotion and I was holding on to it and I was suppressing it. And every time then I would think about it, like your mind would go back and think about it and would just bring up that feeling and then you push it down
Yeah.
again. So just learning, like being taught the techniques on how to
Mhm.
release that and becoming aware of it then. So like once I was aware of it and once we had released it then afterwards then I would think of that individual and I had no attachment, no thought or feeling towards that person at all. Like so it was just learning to let it go. So it was
Yes. And what was those techniques that you used then? Uh, and obviously to kind of get over that, and can you explain more?
yeah, so basically it was working on how on the feeling and the emotion and then maybe just going finding out where it was coming from.
Hmm.
So everybody's going to have a different situation of where their anger comes from. So it's we don't work on the situation because every situation has that feeling and that emotion attached to it. So it may be something different that's going to trigger it each and every time. So every time it's triggered, it gets a little stronger. So what we tend to do is we kind of go back and find out where it's actually coming from and deal with it there. So kind of remove it, reframe it, and just put in a more positive suggestion. So it becomes easier to deal with then.
And do you think a lot of some people's frustrations and anger may be as far back as their childhood? Like, is that something that you truly believe? Because if for sometimes, like even for me, you think, oh, can you really think that far back? And how can it just affect you in the here and now? I think you
Yeah,
explained it to me before, like it's kind of like a layer and a cake, but
yeah,
how true do you
yeah.
think that is where it could be something that just your childhood that could be really affecting you now, maybe in a relationship now with say with a partner or something? How
Uh,
strong is that connection?
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Like so, if you can imagine, like your subconscious mind can't really tell what's real or what's not real. So whenever something goes in there, it believes it to be true. So um, if that fear and that emotion is going in there, it's embedded into your subconscious mind. So just as you were saying there, going back younger, I'll give you an example. One of the girls that had come to me there for she had a fear of needles. So she was going into the doctors, and every time she would go in, she'd have to get bloods, like, and she couldn't give the blood just because of the fear of the needles. So we did a couple of sessions with her, and we figured out we just worked on the emotions that she was feeling. So once we did the session with her, then that fear and that emotion that she actually was having towards the needles or the doctors was actually coming from when she was 5 years of age, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the doctors at all.
Right.
What was causing her fear or emotions was actually when she was 5, and she was being held in her arms by her mother, and her parents were actually having an argument. They were roaring and shouting at each other. So the child then, or her at that age, was picking up that fear and that emotion, and she was holding on to it then. So as she was progressing through life, every time she would get into a situation that was bringing that fear or that emotion up, her mind was reverting back to that 5-year-old child, pulling that fear and that emotion up, and it was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So every time she was going into the doctors, it was only the needle was just a trigger for that emotion. So
Right.
once we went back and we cleaned that up, she was able then to go in and get her bloods done then after.
Madness. How much of a sessions do you like to even delve that deep, that far back? Like how much work, what do you do to actually drag that out of someone like that? That's like you should be working for this Secret Service or something like that.
um, it depends on the individual too. Like you have to be willing to kind of want to, you got to work with it. It's not a magic wand for everybody, so it doesn't work
Yep.
for everybody. Like the more open you are to say just going with it, and the better response that you're going to have. Like I have some people that will come in for like if you're like her, she 1 or 2 sessions and she was good. I had another young girl come in for 1 session for fear of cats and she was good. And then other people kind of come in with this mindset that, oh, I'm not going to let you in. So if you're not going to come in and just work with it, then you're wasting your time and you're wasting my
Yeah.
time. Like, so some people may take 1 session, others could take 3 or 4 sessions. It just depends on the individual and themselves.
Okay, I suppose as you're building a relationship there with these people and a bit of trust as well, obviously
Yeah.
they break down that initial barrier.
Yeah.
But is there anyone that you've sort of helped with that you thought you had the reason why this would happen, but then it it's it wasn't the reason, there was something else? Is there any sort of
Well,
examples of that or no?
no, you don't really know what the reason is because you're just working off the emotions.
Yeah.
So that's what you're really working off. So you don't really know until you start delving in, until then you'll know what you'll come up with. Like I had a young girl has suffered with OCD. It was kind of getting really out of hand for her. So it was through a friend's sister actually. She asked her if she would try it, like because she was waiting on therapy, but she had like a 6 month wait list. So she said she would come and give it a go. So again, we just worked on the feelings and the emotions and kind of started digging in then. And where, because when she was doing the OCD, everything was a sequence of three. It was tapping the three. And so once we got into the situation, we took her back to where she was like 3 years of age. And she was sitting on the floor, tapping the floor 3 times, asking for protection for her mother, her father, and her brothers and sisters. And once she even realized that herself, like she was able to just kind of sit up and she's like, fuck, that's where it's coming from. So to go that far back,
Yeah,
just that repetition far back had really kind of hindered her life the whole way up until that point. Like,
that's
so
insane.
she still does, but she still has OCD to a certain degree, but it's a lot milder now than what it was beforehand. So she's more able to deal with it now.
Jeez, that's insane. I don't know which is more insane, the fact that she remembered something when she was 3 years of age, or because I
Well,
couldn't remember something 3 years ago.
but you see, that's the thing, Jimmy. Consciously, she wasn't even aware of that.
Right.
See, your subconscious mind stores all this information in there. So from the day you're born, everything that you smell, touch, taste, see, do, it's all locked in there. So we just allow the mind to go in and just open it up. Just
Like the vault, like a vault. Yeah, I get you. It's like it'll always store um those memories, but not necessarily tap into it. What's that called? What part of the brain is that? Where it's
into your subconscious mind. Just
Mhm.
mm.
um.
So
So I want the like that's a great sort of start to kind of delve into your treatment and how you're helping people and stuff.
mm.
And why was it mindset? Why did you start? You know, you always wanted to help people and stuff. Was there any other reason why? It just sort of it just happened naturally then for you from talking to you and talking about how the hypnotherapy really worked with you on a personal level. You wanted to kind of exchange that and pass that on to other people. Would that be correct? Would that be the way
Yeah,
you want to kind of go into it?
yeah. It just seemed like a natural path. Like even from a young age, I think I was always kind of wanting to help people some way or another. But I guess never really understood which way.
Yeah.
So I think it was until I had that actual session myself, and then that was just kind of like a wee light bulb moment. This is what I needed to do. That.
Okay.
And
Cool.
then I'd always kind of, even before I thought about, well, I'd always thought about doing the hypnotherapy then, and then it was always more kind of maybe the sports side. Like, how could I help athletes? How could I help them to get their goals? How could I help them achieve things a little more easier? And then that's how I kind of started tapping a little more into the sports side then as well. So it was just kind of getting into getting to get a few people now. I knew a couple of boys over in the Foyle golf club there, and I'd actually put a post up on Facebook about the hypnotherapy and that, and one of the golfers actually messaged me like, and I said, sure, why don't we try it with you, see how if it can help you with your golf. We were just joking about it, like, and he says, yeah, sure, why not? So we did a couple of sessions with him, and then the thing that he wanted to work on too, I guess, was helping him with his draw shots and stuff. So we just had a chat, like, and kind of worked with him, and just to see, like, he explained to me what he had done. So he taught himself to do a draw shot, kind of like from sending the ball way out to the right and being able to bring it back into the left again. So he had taught himself then to do it the opposite side. So he done that for about a year, and then he wanted to go back to the left to right draws. So, and he says he couldn't do it. He says he just, for the love of him, he could not do it. He'd spent a full year changing clubs, changing the length of the club, changing heads, changing grips, going onto the machine to check his swing and everything like that. So he spent the whole year doing that, and he couldn't get it. Like, so we just did a session with him, and then just getting him, like, his subconscious mind knew how to do it because he'd already done it before, so it was locked in there. So basically, we just tell him, whenever you're out in the course and you need that draw shot, your subconscious mind is just going to allow that to come forward, and you're going to do it automatically without even having to think about it. So carried on with the session in it, and then I think he was out then a couple of days later, like, and he texted me and he was like, "You're not going to believe what happened." I said, "What?" He says, "I got my draw shot on today." I says, "No way." He goes, "Aye." He says, "It was the weirdest thing ever." He says he was sitting slightly on the rough just off the fairway, and the green was up around the left and behind the trees. So he took his usual stance that he would do, and he was getting in the position, feet on the ground, holding the club, arms out straight, and he says his elbow turned slightly out. And he was like, "What the heck?" Put his arms back in again, elbow turned out slightly again. And he was like, "That's it." He says, that's what I was doing wrong. I was keeping my elbow in too tightly. He says, "How the hell did I overlook that?" So he says he took the shot, and he says, balled way out left, back in right on the green. He says, "It was unbelievable." So that's kind of got me more thinking then, like, how can we, like, this can really help athletes then, like, you know, it's so simple, like, you just need to allow it to happen, like, because a lot of people just tend to overthink everything and not be aware, like, and just, they become too focused on what they should be doing instead of letting it happen naturally. So then we had another little fella then from the Foyle golf too as well, and he was getting very frustrated, say, from like the 13th, 14th hole and that, like, and he would always kind of tend to fluff his shots in at that point, and he would always overthink everything. So again, he would get angry too then with himself. So we just did some techniques on him to see where that anger was coming from. And again, that was going back then to him practicing around the house, chipping and getting angry with himself because he wasn't able to do it. So just allowing him to release that, he was able to do his shots a lot more better. And any time that he's kind of fluffed a shot, we just give him a little visualization just to imagine maybe a white line in front of him, maybe about 10 feet in front of him. So whenever he fluffed his shot, instead of thinking about it, once he passed that white line, he would stop thinking about it and he would let it go. And we found that worked perfect for him now.
A couple of things. Is it always anger, the emotion that really holds people back? And two, I want to talk more about that self-awareness. So to answer that first question, does it always tend to be anger, or?
No, not really. Like people that just kind of get a little block on themselves. So I'll use Peter as an example. I'm sure he'll not mind. I work with Peter. Peter did the expo with me, so anybody knows Peter. He's a personal trainer. He's been in big sports and fitness for as long as I've known him anyhow, but he does jiu-jitsu as well. I believe he's blue belt or something. And again, Peter has the skills, like he has the capabilities of doing it. He's a very strong individual and very, very solid in his game of jiu-jitsu. So even his coach was telling him, look, it's your mind that's stopping you. He says, you're well capable of doing it. He says, it's just your mind's stopping you from doing it. So Peter knew I was doing this here, and he says, do you think, could you help? I says, sure, we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. So anybody knows Peter. Peter's as laid back and as calm as you can get. Like you're not going to get anybody any calmer than Peter. So it's not any anger or anything like that with him. Yeah. It was just his mind. So we got him to say like what the problem was when he was fighting. Like so, when he was fighting, he would find that his mind would just go blank. He would tank out in his breathing. And then that was just like a knock-on effect. One would start and then the other would start, and then they just end up losing the fights. So we just, like a simple technique, we would just talk him down, get him nice and relaxed, and then we would do the visualization with him. So again, just allowing the subconscious mind, because he has all the skills and everything in there, all the movements that he needs is in there, just asking it. So when he gets into a position, that the subconscious mind would allow what movement he would need at that time to come forth, and he'd be able to get out of it or reverse the move or whatever and work it to his favor. Yeah. So when he was in a compromising position, he would find that his breathing would start to go into as well. So we'd also ask the mind to remain calm and just allow the body to breathe naturally and easily too. So that would keep him calm and focused too as well. So simple other little techniques too as well. Like for example, we'd say at the start of the fight, if he was coming into the hall or the arena, we were just getting to see that and visualize and hear all the sound, and all that sound then would just be like a little trigger just to keep him calm and composed. And even if he was talking to other fighters during the day, he would remain calm. And then when he goes onto the mat, once he felt the mat, obviously you're going to be a little anxious and nervous then going on to a fight. So once he got onto the mat and he could feel the mats in his bare feet, and that would be another little trigger just to help the body remain calm. And then whenever he bowed and kind of tapped the thighs as they do, that tapping of the thighs then would be his trigger for his mind to allow all the information or all the techniques that he needed to come to the forefront of his mind. So that was what we kind of basically did with that session, and he was going on then and for a competition that I think it was a couple of days after. So he had like 7 fights that day, and he won 6 of the 7 out of that. So he was saying like he just felt calm and composed. He was able to see his opponent going to do a move, and he was able to counteract that move and work it to his favor and gain the points. So then a couple of months later then too, he was going for I think it was the Nationals down in Dublin, and again we did another session with him, and it was basically just the same session as before, because it's repetition. Repetition is key. Once you keep repetition of something, you'll know it embeds it into the mind. So we did that again, and he ended up with gold in his category. Like he says, it worked really well for him. So it doesn't have to be anger or any other emotions at all. Like, so it's being aware of how to process it and just allowing the mind to do what it needs to do.
So that leads me nicely on to that second question that I asked you about awareness. Now, we had a couple of guys at the Fitness Expo. One guy come up and he did a talk with regards to addiction and recovery coaching. Gaz, one of his clients is a recovering addict of drugs and alcohol. So his example was having these thoughts, and drink was like a positive and a negative emotion, and he would have went to drink. If something went well, he went to drink and he celebrated, and if something went bad, he went to drink and drowned his sorrows, so to speak, right? So and obviously to gain this awareness of how you're actually thinking, like I think Gaz put in these coping mechanisms, right? Okay, whenever this happens, understand that it's happened, and we can use exercise as a way to distract you more or less. But
Yeah.
what I'm thinking is the part where you're self-aware that you're actually thinking, and to stop that trigger, to because like the run or the exercise is just a distraction. It's just
Yeah.
so. Do you see where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to get with the self-awareness, that self-talk? Like someone could say to me, "Oh, oh it's raining outside," right? For a stupid
Mm.
example, but it's raining outside. Oh, what a horrible day! And you
Yeah.
know, even saying that, and you're blaming the weather for having a horrible day, but
Yeah.
it could be your birthday, or you could be getting engaged that day, and you don't care then what flipping what the weather's doing. You know, it's not
Yeah.
a horrible day. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I,
It's like that self talk, and that how do you get a chin to that? How do you kind of get on top of that as regards to self awareness?
uh, well, I'll give you basically my story on how it's helped me then over the last past year or two, anyhow. So after we got back from Canada in 2016, I qualified as a hypnotherapist in September 2017, and then a month later, my wife had suddenly passed away. So for me to be self-aware then was, it took a bit of work, and it does take a bit of work, and it's always going to be a work in progress. So like my wife died suddenly, like, and then the whole world was turned upside down, as you can imagine, for myself and the
Oh,
whole family.
pain.
Like, and trying to the next year was just like running on autopilot. I'd spent 7 months of doing absolutely nothing, like just going through the motions for the day.
Mhm.
Um, I got to a point then I kind of realized to myself, like, I need to stop doing this now.
Yeah.
So it was a case of I would do something, or I'm going to end up going on the drink and just spiraling down into a darker hole into as well. So I was like, I can't do that. I can't take my own life, or I can't put myself down into a darker hole. It's just, you need to be stronger for people around you as well. So being aware of that then as well, like, do I really want to go down this dark hole? You kind of do self-sabotage yourself to a certain degree with self-talk. So becoming aware of that self-talk then is like, you really do start to give yourself a hard time, and you really start to question your own life. Um, Being aware of that then and thinking to yourself, right, how can I get out of this? So for me, starting to become aware then, I needed to get myself out. So getting back into the gym was probably the hardest part, going out and facing people and thinking about what they were saying, what they were talking about. You start to think all this stuff.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, people look at you and they're talking to you, and it does affect you, but you can't let it affect you. You have to stay strong. And it's easy to say that, but it's a whole lot harder to do that. So that self-talk is like when you get yourself into, if you're in the house and you can find yourself talking to yourself all these negative thoughts. Like for
Hmm.
me was going to the gym, going out there, busting an hour in the gym, just releasing that anger or that stress or tension that was in the body, or maybe it was just putting on the headphones and going listening to some music and taking the dog for a walk. And just kind of, I think it was Mario was his name, it's just distracting yourself from that process of that negative self-talk,
Yeah.
and just trying to get out there and replace it with something else. So
And okay.
I would get up in the morning then. I was getting up maybe 2 hours in the morning before I had to get Ben up for school. And I was putting on YouTube and I was listening to Les Brown, Bob
What a
Proctor.
guy.
Oh, great to be listening to first thing in the morning. Bob Proctor, Dwayne, like I would spend 2 hours in the morning listening to motivational stuff and just bombarding me. I literally for months and months just bombarded myself with that stuff. And I
Yeah.
still do listen away to it too, and I always probably will listen to it. So it is work and it is change, and like trying to get that negative thought out of your head and becoming aware of it. So if you can really think about it, like that's a thought doesn't really have any substance to it until you give it something.
Yes, yes.
So a thought is if you can imagine, like a thought just is just something that pops into your head. So if you give it a negative attachment, then your body is going to respond to that by giving you that negative feeling of fear, anxiety. Like you'll feel your body will just kind of close up, your shoulders will come around you,
Hmm.
and then your output or your response to that is going to be like you want to either take the drink to kind of numb the pain of it. You're going to lock yourself away. You don't want to see anybody. And then it just spirals then. It spirals down in that dark hole that you don't want to go down into. And once you start going down that, it's a lot harder to come out of it. So I guess being aware of that negative thought, like, so if you can think to yourself, right, fair enough, this is a negative thought. What's the opposite of this thought?
Yeah, you kind of reframe it. You kind of make it more positive. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have a negative thought, you can simply say to yourself, right, I don't even want that thought in my head. Why am I even thinking about that? And just try and
Yeah.
think of something. Think of the positive side of that. Try and think of something a little bit better. And if you're thinking something a little bit better, then your body is going to react a little bit better. So instead of having that nauseous, anxious feeling, like you're going to have like a little more adrenaline through, maybe a little more excitement, and then again that outcome is going to be more positive. So I would always kind of use when I'm ever talking to any clients, I use the acronym T. I always ask them how do they like their tea. So it's your thoughts, emotions, and your actions. So if you're going to have a weak cup of tea, you're going to have that negative thought, that negative emotions, and that negative action. So a stronger cup of tea, positive thoughts, positive emotion, and a positive outcome. So just try to get them to be aware of that, and just it's not easy to do at the start. It does take work, like everything else. You're not going
Yes.
to do it
Yes.
straight away. It's just practice, practice, repetition, repetition, repetition.
Yes.
Mm.
I like the analogy. You ever see of Darren Hardy? He talked about having a dirty glass underneath a running tap. Do you know, over time, if you continually listen to that positive motivation stuff and like those audios and all,
Mm.
that's like the water going into the dirty glass, and eventually, it might be months, it might be years, but eventually that water will clean every little bit of dirt out of the glass.
Yeah,
You have a clean glass,
yeah.
which again, it doesn't happen overnight, but it takes a lot of work.
It does. You can't go out and just say to yourself, right, I'm just going to listen to this positive motivation now for 10 minutes, and that'll be me.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. It's taken many years of negative beating, maybe for some individuals. Like
Yes.
people may have had a lot of abuse over the years, and you can't fix that in 1 or 2 sessions. Like
No.
it takes time. It's like anybody. Like if you somebody coming into your gym that's maybe put on a couple of stone over the years,
Yep.
they're not going to take that weight off in 1 or 2 weeks. It's the
Yeah.
same process. It takes time, repetition,
100%.
and the repetition's key.
Yeah.
Constantly doing it and feeding your mind positive all the time.
Um, the law of attraction kind of works with that as well, and with your thought process, I suppose.
Yeah.
Have you read up on anything on that, or have you anything to say on, because that's sort of paving the way for what you actually want. That's like kind of looking into the future in a way and believing
Yeah.
it and working towards it. It's kind of different to working with that self-awareness in the here and now, but
Yeah.
we use a little bit of the law of attraction as well.
Oh, absolutely. So, like, even I'll use the expo as an example there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everything's a thought at some point. Like, somebody thought of that car you're sitting in. It was an idea at one
Yes.
stage. Like, so a few months ago, me and Peter were just having a chat on the phone, and we thought about what if we did this at Expo. We could promote ourselves, and we could give everybody else around us a chance to showcase what they have to offer too as well. So it was just an idea that we had. So having that idea in your head, or that thought, again, if you give it a negative or a positive attachment, we gave that thought a positive attachment because it was going to benefit us and it was going to benefit everybody else around us. And we hope everybody that came in through the day got something from it, and the vendors got something from it as well.
Yeah.
So that positive thought, that positive emotion that we had towards it was exciting, scary. We didn't know how it was going to work. Like we can only put it together and hope people would come in on the day, and thank God they did.
Yeah.
And so our action was that positive outcome then. So again, the law of attraction, I guess it was just we thought about doing it. We wanted to do that. So I guess getting on that vibration of it helped pull it together. So not only did we pull it together there, we're going to take it to Sligo and Galway now as well. So
It's getting
so
bigger and
Peter has
bigger.
informed me.
Another guy that was actually on stage and talked to that I interviewed was Matthew McKeon, and I believe in what he's saying, that on his goal, that he's going to be the strongest man in the world. Like that's just something that's just drilled into his mindset, and he is so focused on that I just believe it's going to happen for him. Like myself, from talking to him, and he gives you that belief behind him as well. So
and that's it. Like he knows, like he's so focused on what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like nothing is going to put him off his track. Like, and again, like it boils down to that thought process. Like he is thinking in his mind that he is going to be the world's strongest man. Yeah. And if you can imagine now the physical reaction that his body is having to that, like if he's seeing that he is the strongest man, like he's probably feeling how he's going to feel having already accomplished that.
Yes.
So again, that boils in that law of attraction. If he's thinking that and he's feeling that, then by all means, that is what he's going to be. It has to be. So if you're thinking and feeling something, all nature corresponds and gives you what you're thinking. If you're going to be thinking negative and feeling negative, then your brain. So I always say too, like your brain is like a thinker and a provider. If you're thinking it, it's going to provide it. Yeah. So in Matthew's case, he's thinking strongest man. He's feeling that the strongest man, then his brain's going to give him the strongest man. Yeah. If he's thinking weakest man or negative, bad thoughts, feeling bad, then his brain is going to give him more of what he's thinking. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just becoming aware, that self-awareness of what you're thinking. Yeah.
It's so interesting. I love mindset. The first person I started to listen to, I think, was either Tony Robbins and then Jim Rohn. Those were the first two I kind of started to listen to, and I listened to Darren Hardy's Compound Effect, and just like those sort of things. Is there anything that you have listened to that you found really beneficial? That you would kind of say, go read that book if you want to start learning more about this, or?
If I was going to recommend one book, it would be Psycho-Cybernetics.
Yes, I've heard of that before.
And it is by Maxwell Maltz. Yeah, I'm just actually reading this now.
I've heard that goes so really deep though. That goes deep, like that goes into a lot of it. Sometimes it's kind of over your head, a lot of that stuff. And what did you take from it? Would you say that, or?
It is a little deep, yeah. But I think if you're kind of practicing this stuff yourself and you're into it and you're open to it, I think once you start reading it, a lot of it will just start clicking with you, and you'll be like, it will really start to come, and you'll be more aware of it. And then it is a little deep, so you probably will need to read it once or twice, or even a whole lot more to fully grasp it. Like, but it is. I would definitely recommend it for sure.
Did you ever read or listen to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
Yeah.
You did?
Another book I'm reading now at the minute as well is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yes.
And I think by reading that book, that kind of helped. It helped me, and will definitely help me with putting the expo together as well. Once you read it and you understand it, and you're thinking of something, and you apply yourself to it, you don't really need to think about it. If you set yourself that outcome or that goal, like we did with the expo, we don't even need to worry about how it was going to happen.
Yes.
Because we believed it was going to happen. It just happened so easy for us.
I like the idea of opening the mind to different perspectives and stuff. And like, there's a section in that 7 habits of highly effective people, and there's like a picture of an old lady, but there's also a young lady, just depending how you look at it. And
Yeah.
Joe Gallagher put up a picture of a duck, which was a rabbit as well, which
That's
just
right.
again opens up the people's different perspective and how they look at things.
Yeah.
And so always be kind of that open-minded about stuff, and with regards to beliefs and stuff,
Yeah.
really, really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think like that's why we should never really judge anybody either, like because you don't know where that person's coming from, what their perspective is on life.
Yep,
So, and it's being aware of that, like.
100%. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we call it a day, or?
Um. Yeah, well, if anybody was like wanting to have a wee visualization session just to check it out, see what it's all about, um, yeah, you can get in touch
Yeah,
with me.
where can they find you? Where can they actually get in contact with you if they found this would be something they would like to participate in?
I'm on Facebook under JC Sports Performance Mindset and same on Instagram as well.
Cool. Excellent, buddy. No, really interesting conversation, and there's a lot of topics there that we delved into and stuff I love talking about. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and actually be on the show. I think people will get a lot out of it.
Thanks
Just
for having us.
not a problem, man. Just a really good story about yourself and how far you've come as well as a person, and controlling your own anxiety. So like there's ways out there. There's hope for people, I suppose, out there who think that they're struggling and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
um, appreciate the time.
Okay.
Go check.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I guess it's just making people aware. That's it's becoming aware of it and how to control it, just making it easier.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
No, as I
To
say,
reach out. There's plenty of help out there.
yep. Get over to this Facebook and Instagram. Send them a DM if you feel that you need something. I'm sure you'll be happy enough to answer any questions. Maybe even do a wee Q&A like Oshin and Flaherty on Instagram. He does it every Wednesday. Maybe get on that, and then you'll get yourself a little bit of help that way. But thanks very much again, Jason. Um, Guys, I really hopefully you got something out of that. But until next time, we'll have another show. We'll have another guest. We'll have another story to talk about on breaking inertia. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to stop cloud recording? Okay.